Well, it's another edition of Ringside Seat Live on the Sports Box. I am Brian Attard along with Anthony Morella, bringing it live. WWE, UFC, we're all over the place tonight. Anthony, welcome back. You had a little vacation there.
I was on a hiatus, but I'm back. Nice to be here.
How was everything?
If you ever get a chance to go to Hawaii, put it on your bucket list. It's a must-do. That includes you. Anybody watching at home, go to Hawaii if you haven't been there already.
You know, I don't think there's ever been a WWE pay-per-view in Hawaii.
I was just going to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the same thing. It's a lot of travel.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely understand that. We'll get started off. I guess the news of the week in professional wrestling is actually something that happened outside of professional wrestling. And that would be the CM Punk fight in UFC. It was interesting to me. Now, I am an unabashed Punk fan. I think he is the biggest thing wrestling has had in probably about 15 years, probably since the Attitude Era. Rooting for him, obviously, in MMA. But I will tell you, the fight was better than his previous fight against Mickey Gall. He did lose a decision in 3 rounds. What was your take? Your take will probably be a little more unbiased than mine, or as much as unbiased as I can make mine, because I root for the guy. But you saw the same fight that I did.
Well,
what was your take?
I have a question for you after this. But my take was Punk looks like an amateur. There's no doubt about that. A lot of things. I dabbled with a little bit of MMA when I was younger. It's just very sloppy for him. I understand it's just a second fight, and I get that. But, I mean, there was parts where he was just toying with him, to be honest with you. And it just didn't... Like, in the first round, you could see he was really giving it his all. There's just some things there that you just don't do in MMA that he did, and you could tell that he needs season. And not to say he's not going to be any good. Just, he's a guy that needs a lot of work. That's basically what I have. And I don't know how much longer you can continue to throw him out there. And, I mean, watch him get his head beaten every time.
Well, I have to tell you, so in my opinion, I felt that this was a lot better for Punk than it was previously. And I say that because, you know, I really think that he won the first round. And I think that if you think back to the Mickey Gall fight, I think that he was a bit over-aggressive. He went in for a move, Gall blocked it like the pro that he is, and then he just couldn't recover from that. And that's really what I think happened. In this fight, you know, I really thought that he had a really good first round, but after that, that's when everything kind of went under, because I just don't think he had the endurance in the second round, and I think that that's what showed. Like, I think that that's what the difference was in the fight, you know, where Mike Jackson, who, you know, let's call it what it is. This was an amateur fight on a UFC card. And I think, you know, people get mad, oh, you know, Punk's in UFC, like, you know, he hasn't paid his dues, he hasn't gone through, you know, what other guys have gone through. And, like, I understand that, but at the end of the day, he's a draw. I've purchased 2 UFC fights in my life. Yep. 203 and this one, because I wanted to see CM Punk. And I want to see him come out to Cult of Personality and really just relive some of that. And you can call that nostalgic if you want to, and that's fine. I just felt that the difference in the fight was, you know how Warrior would go to the ring and do like the ropes and blow himself up? I think Punk blew himself up in round 1. I don't think Punk had the endurance and that's why I think the second round and the third round looked relatively non-competitive, because Jackson got on top of him and he couldn't get out from under it.
It's an amateur fight, but Jackson knows what he's doing. That's the difference.
Correct.
Punk doesn't have the cage smarts yet. And it showed. I mean, there were times where, like, he's full mount on top of Punk, and he's just toying with him. There was a time where Punk tried to shoot, and Jackson literally just kind of lifted him up towards the end of that, and just said, okay, here we go, and just kind of slammed him down. And in the second and third round, he was kind of toying with him. And listen, I give Punk a lot of credit for trying this, but here's my question for you. Why, as a wrestling fan, as a CM Punk fan, as somebody that gave you so much enjoyment every Monday and Thursday night, well, Thursday,
mostly Mondays, and the occasional Sunday.
Yeah. Why do you want to see him succeed? Don't you want him to come back into wrestling?
I don't necessarily know that he's ever coming back to WWE. And that was a question that we asked you. He's like, what is his future in MMA? I don't think that that's his last MMA fight. That has every potential to be his last UFC fight. And Dana White said as much. But, you know, again, there's other outfits that are out there, and CM Punk is 0-2. He's still in it. He's been doing this for 3 years or 4 years. Like, it's not as if he came up with it and like has, like you said, the cage smarts, the awareness, like the different studies of martial arts that, you know, that puts it all together. And I applaud the guy for doing what he wants to do, and he's always going to be like that. I don't think he cares, you know, what people think about him. He's never cared,
which I respect him for.
And I respect, you know, with the lawsuit with WWE now in the rearview mirror. Do I think there's ever the potential for him to make his way back? I mean, listen, Hogan came back, Goldberg came back. I mean, there's guys that made their way back into the company. I mean, it's all about money at the end of the day. And WWE, having signed a massive deal to be on Fox, is $1 billion over 5 years. You know, the money is there. What I will tell you, and I would ask you to prove me wrong, frankly, is if I think of one event in professional wrestling right now that would be the singular biggest pop of anything, it is Cult of Personality hitting at a WWE event. I don't think it's Kenny Omega showing up. I don't think it's the Bullet Club. None of that stuff. I don't think there's an individual out there right now that could create a crowd pop like CM Punk would. No. Despite the fact, Ant, that everybody's like, you know, there's a lot of angst in the wrestling world about him. Like, it's very polarizing, right?
Yeah.
People that really root for him, that want to do well, and people that, you left, da 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 da. I just think that if that music hit, it's so unexpected that would be the biggest pop in a very long time.
It wasn't that long ago. I mean, you still kind of hear him off and on, but it wasn't that long ago that you constantly heard CM Punk chants from the WWE crowd, because he was the best thing, even 3 years later, that they had to hold on to. And that's not really I don't think it's so much a credit to Punk as it is to how bad of a job WWE does.
Well, I think it's a mixture of both. You know, I think, if you think back to the summer of Punk and everything that happened after Money in the Bank, which is again in Chicago this year, ironically enough, in the same building, he did that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's one of the things with WWE that I think people get excited about is when things happen organically. And I think that Punk did that without the overarching, you know, WWE creative hands on everything. And there's not that much that happens like that anymore. I mean, last week on Raw, you saw Bobby Lashley go around the ring with this idiotic obstacle course, and I don't even know at this point what I'm watching. I mean, it's so bad. A couple of comments coming in.
Well, you'll like the last one.
Yeah, so Cool and Dave, CM Punk has to return to save his legacy. I don't really know that. You know, I as a professional wrestler, I think, you know, he did a lot. I mean, in many ways, he saved the business because there was a period of time there. There was a reason he was champ for 434 days because he was the best thing going. And it's kind of like what Hogan said. Whether you like it or you don't, it's the best thing going today. And they rode him. I don't think they've had anybody since.
They
not
to his level. To ride, to be honest with you. It sucks. Does he have to return to save himself? No, but I will say this. He's looking, in my opinion, he's looking desperate.
Desperate in what way?
As if he needs to be relevant somehow. So this is what he's doing. Like, okay, WWE, you know, I couldn't stand it there anymore, so I had to do something else to make myself relevant or keep relevancy. I don't know that he needs to save any legacy, like you said. His wrestling career is absolutely etched in stone.
A comment coming in. What do you think of CM Punk's recent from Justin? To CM Punk's recent comments about wrestling being boring and uninteresting, and if he thinks it's boring, why not come back and create storylines? Justin, I'm inclined to agree with him.
Yeah,
because we have a couple. You know, the sports box. You know, we talk a lot of wrestling with each other, and I've been known to say, you know, I kind of put my Jericho jacket on, and I'm like, you know, Raw is Ambien because every Monday night I lay in bed and try to watch, and I don't make it through the show. I fall asleep.
I do the same thing.
It is bad, and it's just
we're also older.
Well, that's true, and no, I get that part of it, but there's nothing. There's very little that's just like engaging that draws you in. And in fact, if you notice with Raw, they're kind of making that 10 o'clock, that like last 10 minutes before 10, a bigger thing because they realize they're losing people in the third hour.
Yeah.
So, You know,
being flooded.
Joe Rickson, a fan I respect a lot, dead on about the organic stuff. Look at the last few WWE hits. The Rusev Day, the list. People don't want to feel stuff that is forced on them. And Joe, you're absolutely right. That is the absolute entire case against Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Roman Reigns, and we asked this question in a poll not that long ago, you know, who is more responsible for Roman Reigns not getting over? Is it Roman Reigns or Vince and Creative? And 4-1, it was Vince and Creative.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. And Jeremiah brings up a really good point about Punk coming back at All In. Have you heard the rumors?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I'll go on record. I'd be shocked.
There is a poster out, apparently, of Punk and Omega.
Anybody could do that. It's called Photoshop.
I understand that. But it's interesting.
There was
and I can see him doing that because it's Ring of Honor. It's not WWE.
There was a WrestleMania 30 ad, a 31 ad, a 32 ad, a 33 ad, a 34 ad, probably a 39 ad with CM Punk's face on it. People do it all the time.
It's not just that. It's the fact that this is Ring of Honor. It's not.
No, I get. Well, see, but
WWE.
it isn't Ring of Honor. It's Cody and the Young Bucks.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, right.
It's All In is the biggest independent show you're ever going to see.
They're all in.
I get it. No,
They'll do
I'm a poker player. The tables are behind me. I get
yes,
it. I understand.
they will do anything for this.
I
wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past Punk to do it for them.
I don't think Punk gets anywhere near a wrestling ring until this ship has truly sailed on MMA. And I just don't think that it has yet. It may have in UFC. And I understand that.
Punk would love to help out Cody Rhodes for the same reason. He left the same reason why CM Punk left.
Here's my problem with Punk coming back to wrestling. As much as I would love to see it, as much as I would mark out and just lose my mind,
you would geek out.
I would go nuts. I'd lose my. But he would, you know. Do you remember the promo with him and Cena in the ring?
Yeah,
where he says, "You've become what you hate."
Yeah, the Yankees.
Right. That's what CM Punk would become. He would become the part-time guy taking a slot away from somebody else, which that was what made him.
Maybe.
He was the voice of the voiceless. He was, you know, the guy who wasn't given everything because he didn't have that physique like the Lesnars and the Batistas, like, you know, and the Triple H's of the world that Vince, you know, prefers, frankly.
Yeah.
And everybody pretty much knows that. I don't see it. And, you know, Jarrett with a great thing right here. You know, he'll not waste his comeback on All In. OG Febreze, first time watcher from the Bronx. You guys are great. Thank you. Go Yanks. I'm a Yankee fan. He's not. Well, maybe on occasion.
I respect him
on occasion. But I agree with that. I just
totally disagree.
It is such a the CM Punk return. If it's if it's done right, which he wouldn't let it not be done right, would be the biggest thing in wrestling in 10 years. So. But
Who would you rather help, Ring of Honor or WWE?
I hear you, but I don't think
It's such a Punk move. If anything, it's a Punk move.
I get it. I can't.
He's not wasting anything here. He's not wasting any kind of big grand return. Like, yeah, he is coming back to wrestling, but this is what he was saving for.
It's not televised. So there's at this point. So think about this, right?
Even better.
So no, but if his goal was to make as much money for people as possible, including himself, All In sold out.
Right.
So it's not as if that's going to create a flux of money.
It would. People would be talking about that for months afterward.
Talking about it doesn't necessarily bring dollars.
People will be tuning into every sort of wrestling circuit to see where he's going to show up, what the deal is. There'll be tons and tons of articles on it. I mean, it would be the biggest thing, and it would be in a way that's not as big and bright light as I think. That's how people.
Here's what I will say: no matter where this ends up being, if it ever happens, and I'm on record, this is not happening this year, next year. I don't think. It's a ways in the future if it does. Mm-hmm. But what I will tell you is this: you think back to recent returns and debuts. Lesnar after WrestleMania 28. It was 28. Yeah, 28.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey showing up. The Hardys at WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Everything was blown off on the internet. This is the one thing that needs to be known by like 3 people on the planet.
Exactly.
I really believe that you would create the biggest pop in recent memory
Right.
Like, if he's like a number 30 at the Rumble or something, and the Rumble now is going to be, I believe, at Chase Field in Arizona, so you got a huge building. I don't know. I just think...
I get what you're saying. The venue, the magnitude of it would be much bigger. But if he did it so discreetly as he does just say it all in, I mean, I can't tell you how many people would rush to their TV, computer, whatever they can find it on, just to find a clip of it. It would be like the most talked about thing, like, oh my God, Punk showed up at All In. Like, what does this mean?
Yeah, I mean...
And then it's full circle.
In a social media world, it would happen on Twitter. Joe Rickson, CM Punk thinks he still has a shot at MMA. And as long as it's clear he has no path there, he's sticking with it. He can't admit failure. This earlier, WWE sort of wins. Joe, I agree with you. And again, I'm not saying he can't ever go back. You know, again, we've seen people go back that we never thought would go anywhere back near WWE. It can happen, and money talks. And if something makes sense to Punk, you know, I think he's portraying this anti-wrestling thing. I think it's more of like a mental thing for him because he wants to be all in on MMA.
Right.
Like, that's where he is right now. So he can't really, like, leave doubt. He's like, oh, I'm done. Everybody's done until they're not. So I'll hold out faith that at some point I'll see CM Punk wrestle again. I'll hold out faith that it's going to be a great pop and a great moment in a time in wrestling where, frankly, there ain't that many of them. So for me, I would just like to see it.
Unfortunately. For Punk to come back, this is Jared Orr. For Punk to come back, there needs to be a payoff. This is an indie show. He ain't coming back unless it's Mania and for the money.
I
disagree.
I don't know.
I don't. It's not about money for him, because he said in this famous pipe bomb, he said, I'll go back and I'll defend the belt in Ring of Honor. Like, it doesn't matter to him. He does this because he loves it. He doesn't do it for the money, for the fans, even for the pop. He does it because this is what he loves to do. I mean, he's as hard on the fans as anybody, and you know that.
True, but that's why I think he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because he can't come back and be the part-timer. He can't be what he hates.
Right.
Because
probably exactly why he wouldn't do it at WWE. He would have to be in wrestling and then negotiate something with WWE, in my opinion.
Again, I still feel as though he has a future in mixed martial arts. I don't think it's in UFC. He could have another fight in UFC. Again, it's all about for Dana White and UFC. UFC's kind of, bereft of big stars right now. They're going to get Brock Lesnar. I guess John Jones might be a Brock Lesnar opponent. I don't really know how that's going to go. I'm not a huge UFC guy, but I don't think that it's a fait accompli that you're not going to see Punk there again. But I think he's better off. I think the people that have the problem with Punk, and I know a mutual friend of ours, we've talked about this at length, is, he's basically doing what he did in WWE. He's taken a spot, that somebody who has, went through the ranks and fought their way, that should be their spot. I get that, but at the end of the day, UFC is about making money, and they think there's money in CM Punk, and that's why they gave him a contract. Right. So if CM Punk wanted to go to MMA, wanted to try his hand at MMA, and Dana White knocks on the door and says, "Hey, here's some money to do it," he's not going to say no. So I don't know. I don't feel that that's...
I get it, but that's the same, and like we've seen, it's the same reason why he left WWE, because he had part-timers coming in, taking WrestleMania main event spots from guys that worked hard to get there. It's kind of the same thing Punk's doing in UFC.
He's again, so between a rock, pardon the pun, and a hard place.
Yes.
So,
but there is some wrestling that we do need to talk about, because there's Money in the Bank coming up.
It's funny. We're 20 minutes into our show, haven't talked about wrestling at all, so we should probably start doing that, right?
Yeah.
So Money in the Bank this weekend. It's in Chicago. You go back to Money in the Bank where it was Punk Cena, and that whole thing, I think, was one of the best. That was probably, just from a storyline standpoint, probably one of the best productions I think I've seen in a long time. So
that's the last great production.
I would agree.
Yep.
It's like storyline top to bottom, because it kind of made
30 was good.
It kind of made you think, is it real? Like NWO days, is it real?
Good. You gotta give it that with DB and Taker.
Sure. So Money in the Bank ladder matches. This weekend. Who do you think will win in your opinion? Well, let's talk about that. So we'll talk about the women first, and I want to see who you think makes some sense. I got a couple points on all of these. Yeah. So the Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Natalya, Lana, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. So what's your thought there? Who do you think should win, and who do you think will win?
Charlotte.
Should or will?
Should.
You think Charlotte should? Okay.
Charlotte should, which sets up the rematch with Asuka.
Okay.
That's how I look at it.
Well, Asuka doesn't have a belt yet.
Right. We'll get to that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, Charlotte's the only one that makes any sort of sense there. Do you agree?
No, actually, and, Joe Rickson's reading my mind. It says, Money in the Bank is great for people that need a push, and Becky Lynch needs the push. I predicted this the last show that we did.
Yes, you did.
And I said, obviously the match is not full up yet, but for somebody who just needs a spark,
yes.
Becky Lynch just makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. Because, again, she's really been forgotten in this whole thing, and she's very talented. She's one of their more popular people, from a crowd reaction standpoint. Absolutely. So I think she should win. I think that it would really give her a boost. I think it would get her going again. I think you could do a lot with her. You could even turn her heel at that point. It doesn't really matter. I've always believed that the briefcase is better on a heel, only just because of the nature of, the way you're going to run in and try to win the title the wrong way and all that stuff. So I personally think from the women's side, Becky Lynch should win. Who do I think will win? This is going to foreshadow something I think happens later in the night. I think it's Natalya. I think it's Natalya because I think that something's going to happen with the women's Raw Women's title match between Nia and Ronda Rousey, and I could totally see a cash-in that same night. I think that WWE got caught a little bit with having
with their pants down. Yeah.
A little bit with having it on Carmella, because then she just had it for all this time to the point where, what are you going to do with it now? Your time's almost running out. So the element of surprise started to evaporate because now, it's coming. It's like playing Mario Brothers. You got to get the level done because you're going to lose your shot.
Right.
So it's more predictable, I think, the more time you have it. I think it definitely goes to a woman on Raw. Only because I think that SmackDown, I don't think Asuka needs it. I don't think Charlotte needs it.
Well, no.
I'm sorry, Asuka in the match. I don't think Charlotte needs it. I don't think, I'd like to see Becky Lynch. But I don't foresee that happening. It's not going to be Lana. It's not going to be Naomi. Right. So to me, I err on the side, on the Raw girls. And I don't think Sasha Banks makes any sense. I really, really don't. Ember Moon just got there. And Alexa does not need the briefcase. Although I will tell you, she would be fantastic with the briefcase.
Yeah, a little bit.
I kind of would like to see that.
But it's annoying that it seems to be always in the hands of a heel. And I get why they do that, but it's awfully annoying because it makes it kind of predictable. It's okay, there's 4 faces in the match and 2 heels. It's going to be one of these 2. It always seems to be that way. Very rarely is it on a face. I mean, it has been before. I'm not saying that.
I think Natalya finds a way, and I think that foreshadows a couple of things, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
On the men's side, so you got Braun, Finn Balor, Miz, Rusev, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and somebody from the New Day. Well, it's got to be Big E, right? I think we're in agreement on that. There's no way it's Kofi or it's actually it's definitely not Xavier Woods, but it's also not Kofi Kingston.
Well, apparently they're trying to get Big E back on his feet again as a single.
Let me read it. We've been talking so much wrestling. Yeah. I haven't really read a lot of the comments.
No, that's fine.
Jeremiah Bright, Punk doesn't need the money. He just got $500,000 for losing, and Jackson got $30,000. $500,000's a lot to me and you, Jeremiah. It might not be that much to CM Punk. Living that lifestyle. Steve Proof, I think it'd be one of the 3. Joe versus AJ would be epic. You can still do that. You can still do that, I think, without the briefcase.
Correct.
Finn or Owens if Joe doesn't win. Brittany, Dog. Ember Moon and Finn should win. I think it'll probably be Becky Lynch or Braun Strowman. Joe Ricks and Natalya is the Vegas favorite right now. I could see that. Frank wants us to go do a live show at the Rumble and one at Mania. We might have to go. We might be going to Mania next year.
Yes.
It is in our backyard a little bit. Jeremiah Bright, I heard James Ellsworth's in talks with them to appear in Money in the Bank.
Apparently that's the...
I hope that has nothing to do with the finality of that match.
Apparently it's going to.
He likes Miz and Alexa. Joe Rickson likes Miz, foreshadowing Miz Bryan, to be a huge fan of that. Steve says give him Big E a push. On the men's side, so let me cross some names off right now.
Sure.
It's not going to be Rusev. It's not going to be Bobby Roode. And I say that because right now those aren't main event guys. And I'm a huge Bobby Roode guy, and I like what Rusev has done. I just don't see it. Kevin Owens, I think, would be great with it. Samoa Joe would be great with it, but I don't think it necessarily elevates them either.
It's just funny how they go from the U.S. title to all of a sudden in the main event picture. It's like, what?
Well, we talked about this. It's like you keep moving around levels. I don't know what that
It's
does.
like you go from one level to the next level, then it's just stupid.
There's people that think Braun can win. I just, that's another thing. Two reasons I don't think Braun wins. One, he doesn't need the briefcase.
No.
He's a legitimate guy. He should be in your title match now. So I just don't think that you elevate him.
He probably will be at SummerSlam.
I'm hearing differently.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that. Finn, I just think Finn's too good of a guy to have the briefcase. Again, and I might be just wrong about that, my mental block, but I just think I can see it on a heel. I think the perfect guy right now is The Miz. I think The Miz has done wonders for you in that mid-card level. I know what you're going to say, but again, when he's on as a heel, he's on. I'm not a huge fan of his. I'm not a huge fan of his in-ring stuff. No. You know, I don't like his stupid finisher. But at the end of the day, I think that he would just this is the briefcase. Like he just like I could see it.
No, I get it.
I think it makes.
They do tend to elevate the briefcase, which is fine. It doesn't make sense for Braun Strowman. You're right. The only person that really makes sense for down the line, in my opinion, is Finn Balor. I know what you're going to say, but he's hot.
No, but that's why I don't to separate him from Gallows and Anderson made no sense because that was actually getting over.
Yeah.
In fact, it was getting over so much it was basically your end scene of Raw 25.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was to me very short-sighted.
He's the only person that I think would make sense. Like for example, if the rumor is that Braun eventually takes the belt from Lesnar, I can see Finn Balor being that guy to try to take down Braun.
Well, that would
That's
be
a long way
I
away.
mean, you're talking probably 35 time.
Yeah.
It's a ways to go. Jeremiah, why do you think Rusev and Lana would be good with the briefcase? Turn them heel with Aiden, that'd be awesome. Well, they're kind of heel right now. Yeah. It's just, it's not effective because everybody likes Rusev. Everybody likes the Rusev Day and stuff like that. I think Lana hasn't had enough ring experience to give her a briefcase. I actually think that would bring the aura of the briefcase down. I just don't see it. Like I don't think that's. She's like the most, in my opinion, the most unlikely one to win. Even more likely than Ember Moon. So I don't really see.
I mean, I throw $10 on it.
Those are the odds. Those are the odds.
And then Jeremiah again. Imagine if they turn Finn Balor heel and he wins. That'd be cool.
We'll talk. I have a thought about Finn Balor. We're going to get to later on in the show. Styles Nakamura, I've seen this match way too many damn times. I'm over it.
Dude.
They have taken what should have been a great rivalry, and you remember Idiocracy, the movie? Mm-hmm. Oh, my balls. They kick each other in the nuts. Like, seriously? Like, that's what you've reduced these two to?
It's a mockery.
It's been presented so terribly that only WWE could find a way to ruin it this badly. I have zero interest in this match. Like, none.
I wasn't happy when Shinsuke won the Royal Rumble, but I thought to myself, okay, Nakamura and AJ Styles, that is going to be a hell of a match. And here we are for the 5th time, and I'm ready to strangle somebody because it is such. They absolutely destroyed us. Imagine if they took Brett and Shawn back in the day and they did this.
Oh yeah, they try to put.
Oh my god, dude! This could be one of the best feuds, some of the best wrestling we've seen in a long time, and they have completely butchered it.
There's not a lot about
Nakamura.
There's not a lot about Nakamura I like right now.
No, there's
nothing. And it's not, and it's just like I thought the no speak of English was kind of funny. Like, I like where they were going there, but and Joe brings up the main point, right? Is how do you have a joint count out in a no DQ match? How do you do that?
Right.
Brittany, Nakamura has to win at this point. It's so old.
Yes, absolutely.
Think about
Thank
this.
You.
The WWE Championship, which is the one where the Golden State Warriors just got one, the Washington Capitals just got one, your Philadelphia Eagles got one earlier this year. That's being in a rivalry right now like this. Mm-hmm. Like it's really like not worth the title. In my opinion,
right.
I really think it's just not done. Josh, I have zero interest in the product right now. Horribly overscripted, and this is what wrestling is. Absolutely. Jeremy, what's up? Listen, I agree with, I think Shinsuke has to win. Because if not, where do you go with him?
Why did you waste all that time?
Yeah.
If he doesn't win. Why would you even waste your time doing all of this we had to watch everybody get grabbed by the balls and whatnot.
It's
for this. I feel like I got grabbed by the balls.
Yeah, every time this match is on, I'd rather punch myself in the balls than watch it. Mm-hmm. It's brutal.
We're sitting on a spike.
Oh, Lord. Bludgeon Brothers against Gallows and Anderson. I think they keep the titles. Not a lot. I wasn't really aware there was a whole lot of, much going on with this as a rivalry. I don't think there's anything happens there. So Nia and Ronda. I wasn't a fan of this match when it was put together because I just felt it was way too damn early. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say something about the tag team match, and you're like, yeah, there's not much going on there. So anyway, back to Nia and Ronda.
Go ahead. I apologize.
I forgot what I was going to say.
It wasn't that important. Was it? Okay.
But it was just funny. I'm like, oh, okay.
I just assumed that you like me, that there was really nothing to talk about.
There isn't, but I was going to make a point about it. Again.
Sorry, that's fair. Nia and Ronda, again, as I said, I wasn't a huge fan of this because I think it's too early for Ronda, and I think you put her in a no-win situation. Because you put the belt on her, then it seems like it's contrived. If she loses, it seems like it hurts her character. So I really thought that it was going to be like a dirty ending, and somehow something happens. And I think we still see that. Because I think, in my opinion, if Natalya wins... Now, again, it's all about timing. At Money in the Bank, timing of the matches tells you a lot. The earlier in the night that the briefcases go, the more likely in that night that they could be used. Right. So if, and it's a big if, because we don't know this, but if the women's match is, if the Money in the Bank match is before the women's title match, and if Natalya wins, I'd be very, very surprised if something doesn't happen where like Ronda wins the title and Natalya turns on her. Like I could see that because that sets up. Now again, to me, I think there has to be something with Ronda and Natalya because Natalya's very seasoned. She can carry a match, and Ronda's going to need to get there. So to me, you can set that program of going through SummerSlam for the title, maybe have Ronda win it at SummerSlam. I think that might be the direction. I think that's
why have Ronda win,
so that she can lose it to Natalya. You create because right now they're friends. Hey, barbershop window, right? You take two friends, one screws over the other. It's a storyline.
I get that, but I don't know what that does really for Ronda.
It puts Ronda in the main event. It puts Ronda in a storyline with something behind it.
Without doing all that. Without having her lose the belt as soon as she gets it.
I think she needs something going.
There needs to be a build-up for Ronda to win the title. And this is just so forced that
I don't disagree.
I don't think that this would be the right time to give her the belt. Even if it's just for 2 seconds. It's not the time to give her the belt. It's kind of like what they did with Roman Reigns the first time he won the belt, and then next thing you know, Sheamus came in and kicked him in the face and won.
That was awful.
Steve, it's the same thing.
Steve wants to know about the an Evolution reboot, where maybe Triple H takes a Flair role. We're going to talk about factions in a minute, because I have an interesting thought about that. I want to go through the card here, though. So I mean, again, I think something happens in that match. I don't think it's a clean ending.
Right.
I'll put it to you that way. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what exactly it is. I don't think it's clean.
Okay.
I think Asuka runs over Carmella.
Oh, yeah.
I think people are... I mean, and it's not a shot at Carmella. I think at this point people are over.
Yeah, it is.
You know, there's just nothing going on there.
It's a shot at Carmella for me.
Well,
I don't think she's very good. I think her character sucks. And her cashing in was so botched. I don't know what that was.
Oh, yeah.
Just get the belt out of her hands. Give it to Asuka. She deserves it. Let her go on like a insane run with this thing until WrestleMania. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
at the least,
I feel as though
and set up her and Charlotte again.
Her streak was wasted after all the play they put on it. Charlotte was kind of wasted after all the play they put on her beating Asuka, and then you just get it just shows like a lack of thought here. It shows that like they don't care about these things the way we think they care about these things. And I know
exactly what you're saying. This was me after Charlotte beat Asuka. I mean, I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe that happened. I can't believe that happened. Like, I was right here watching this, and I was like shocked. I'm like, oh my God, Charlotte won. So, what do? Nothing with it. They do absolutely nothing with it.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? This was your chance to put Charlotte up on this pedestal so high up nobody could touch her, and she doesn't even have the belt right now. She loses to Carmella.
So, Seth, I'm going to get to the non-title matches because I don't like any of them. But Seth Rollins and Elias for the Intercontinental title, I can't see a way Elias walks away with the belt. I think Seth's hot right now.
Hope I don't get confused in the ring.
They do kind of look alike.
I mean,
Yeah, I'll take Seth to win the match. I think it's good for Elias to be in a title match. I think he probably does need a little bit of that, but he hasn't really had a lot of in-ring, to my recollection. So I think that it's good for him to be in the. I mean, it is what it is. I think Seth's obviously going to win here. The other 3 matches. All right, so I'm gonna go from bad to worst to horrible. Okay, bad is Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. Because it just feels to me like Daniel Bryan's being led to slaughter to put Big Cass over. And honestly, I don't think I want to see Big Cass put over. I think I'm over Big Cass. I think Big Cass has no personality. I think Big Cass is given all of these chances because he's 7 foot tall. And I think that he needs a mouthpiece. And his mouthpiece, they fired. So, after they separated them. So, to me, no.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Daniel Bryan, coming back from his injury, this is what you have for him. If I'm Daniel Bryan, I do not resign when my contract's up. If this is what I have,
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I don't see it.
What a waste for somebody that you were so excited to come back, and you're going to put him in the ring against Big Cass.
Joseph Larry Irvin III. Big Cass is nothing without Enzo. I can't agree more. It's just, and you see it happening. Like, we knew, like, Colin Cassidy sucks on the mic.
Yep.
But, you just enjoy the act, so you kind of, like, overlook it.
Yeah.
It is so obvious. And Cass
it's even worse.
And Cass had all this time off with the injury to, like, figure this out.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Did you expect him to, like, get better all of a sudden? No. I didn't. And he's corny, dude.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's
not
corny.
good. It's not good.
You're 7 foot tall. You should be like the baddest MFer on the planet.
So we go from bad to worse. Lashley and Sami Zayn. This is a piss break match. I'm telling you right now. When this match comes on, go to the bathroom, grab a beverage.
Two other things we can't mention.
The whole stupid thing with him with this, this obstacle course around the ring. I mean, somebody actually thought of this and, like, planned it out to actually have this stuff available. Like, this wasn't like a spur of the moment, like, idea they ran on. Somebody actually thought about this and made plans to have the wooden thing and, like, the monthly. Dumb.
Yeah, it literally looked like a rat running through a race.
Lashley.
I mean, seriously.
Remember, I said this to you the last time we had a show. I forgot Bobby Lashley was back.
Yeah. And that's sad.
Yeah.
Imagine being Bobby Lashley and coming back from TNA after all these years.
You were a main eventer.
And this is what you get.
You were a main eventer in TNA. Call it what it was. You're still a main eventer.
And you get Sami Zayn.
It just makes my head hurt. Like, Lashley is... You know what? Like, here's the thing, right? If you look at guys, like, physique-wise... Look, we know it's fake. I'm not going to sit here and tell you... But, like, for, like if you want to have a semblance of realism, right? Right. So if you got Brock freaking Lesnar, right? Who's a couple of the guys that, like, it makes sense that they'd be in a match?
Sami Zayn.
Braun?
Right.
And Lashley.
Yeah.
Lashley's not good on the mic. And that's going to be his downfall.
That kills him.
He needs a mouthpiece. But also, all these guys need
mouthpieces. At least be Kevin Owens, not Sami Zayn. You know what I mean?
And Enzo was the moneymaker of the... This is Joe. Enzo was the moneymaker of the team. He's great in the mic, a decent wrestler. They screwed Enzo in a way by giving the Cruiserweight title, but he did make 205 Live better. See, but the problem with that is, like, 205 Live to me... That's fine, but...
I don't care.
Nobody's buying the network for 205 Live. 205 Live is filler, so you have live shows on the network. If you've ever gone to SmackDown, people leave. SmackDown ends at 10, and then they do 205 Live, and nobody's there. It's actually unfortunate for the actual guys that are putting themselves out there on 205 Live. They put on, like, from an in-ring standpoint, they do a nice product, but it's just... It doesn't work. You can't put it on after SmackDown.
Not at 10:30 at night when people have work the next day.
People aren't even watching... If people aren't watching the last hour of Raw, do you think they're watching 205 Live?
No.
It's just...
It sucks. I mean, what's the card look like to you? Is it worth watching to you?
This one?
Yeah.
I'll watch it because I watch wrestling.
Well, no, but is it one
I'll probably
better
have my phone
cards?
on. No, not at all.
There's some intriguing spots, and we're not even finished yet. But,
we have one match that's the
you
least...
can't wait for it.
Yeah, I might leave the room.
Don't lie.
I might leave the room. Roman Reigns, Jinder Mahal.
What would you rather do? Watch that match?
Oh, God, it makes me angry.
Would you rather watch that match or be locked in a room with no electronic devices with Dave Birnbaum.
Jesus Christ. Fans don't know this, but
I love you, Dave.
It's an inside joke. Do you know how contrived this is, Ann? You know what this is? This is like, people boo Jinder, so we want Roman to get cheers.
Correct.
Let's put Roman against Jinder.
Yep.
And it's not working.
Wow, imagine that. Something with Roman Reigns isn't working.
You have got to be kidding me. I'm over it. Joe Rickson said it best, mentioned that the organic. It's people just hate having stuff shoved down their throat.
And we're not stupid. We know what they're trying to do.
I've said this on this show at least a dozen times, and I'm going to make it 13 right now. It's the same damn hair. It's the same damn chest protector. It's the same damn music. It's the same damn guy. There's no character growth. I'm over it. It's not going to work.
Right.
And you know what? Here I am hoping that this is like their last shot. Like, here I am hoping they wake up and say, you know what? This just isn't working, and we just can't risk our multi-billion-dollar company on this anymore.
Right.
I can't see it. I can't.
Unless Fox has something to say about it.
Joe, who do you think's the hottest woman in Money? I'm an Alexa Bliss fan. I don't even hide that. I love Alexa Bliss. Do you have any comment on that?
I think Stephanie Morel is the hottest.
Oh yeah. It's the newlywed. That's fine. Yeah, and you know what? And Steve brings a real good point. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. I hope Jinder gets a huge face pop in Chicago. But Chicago is one of those places that will totally do it.
Oh, absolutely.
They'll totally do it.
Well, they'll chant CM Punk the whole time.
That's fine too.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Too. You'll be doing it.
You know what? I probably more
entertaining.
entertaining.
On the back.
Listen, you need to stop with that. So that's Money in the Bank. Again, I'm not overly excited about the card. I'm gonna watch it because it's wrestling. It's my first Father's Day. That's fine. Again, just as a summary,
Steve goes, Roman gets cheered when he's tagging Rollins in.
Roman gets cheered when he leaves.
Right. When he walks away like this.
It's like you'll have to watch him leave. That's the best part about Roman Reigns. So Bludger Brothers, we agree?
Sure.
Who you like in the women's? I take the
I'm going with Charlotte.
Okay. For the men's, I'm going to take Miz.
I'm going with Finn.
Okay. Styles and Nakamura, I think they have to go.
Nakamura.
If not, he needs to go.
I don't know what I just watched for the last 3 months. If not,
Nia and Ronda.
Ronda
Keeps the belt.
Yes.
Okay. Carmella and Asuka.
Asuka, no doubt.
I would agree with that. Reigns and Jinder, DNC. Do not care.
Don't care.
Okay. Lashley and Zayn, DNC. Do not care.
Don't care. I kind of hope it's Lashley just because I freaking hate
Seth and Elias. Now, there's a school of thought, and I forgot who mentioned this in the comments, that Elias takes the belt to free up Seth for something else, which I
cool.
Like. So, I think Seth wins, but I can see that.
I'll go with Elias.
I think Big Cass has to be Daniel Bryan because I think that's why Daniel Bryan's in this, to put him over.
Unless they're just saying this is the end of Big Cass, just so you all know at home, and Daniel Bryan wins. That'd be cool.
It's not. No. Vince likes the big guys.
No,
Vince is 7 foot. Everybody.
I just think Vince wants to be secretly 7 foot tall.
Stupid. We got a lot left and not a lot of time to get through, so we're gonna try to speed this thing up a little bit. So Brock Lesnar broke the CM Punk's 434-day streak.
Technically.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. So he broke it, and WWE wants you to believe that this is the new streak. Now, in my opinion, nope. You better keep the belt on AJ Styles a lot longer. I just think that it became very clear to me about 100 days ago that this was absolutely going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think part of the reason that Lesnar got extended was to make this happen. Because they, again, as vindictive as those guys are, and again, I'm a WWE fan, but as vindictive as those guys are, they're at the time, with a lawsuit pending, they're trying to erase every mention of CM Punk.
The same thing with Demolition, with the New Day.
Absolutely.
Same exact thing.
Absolutely.
That's valid.
And Joe Irvin sees it too. I don't recognize it. It's not the same belt. It's not the same belt. Nope. Bruno Sammartino had that belt for like 4,000 days or something, but whatever. We're not going to forget about that, right? It's not. If someone did this, Asuka had a very long run. We don't talk about that with the NXT Women's Championship. Nope. So call it what it is. They're not the same belt. I still recognize CM Punk as a WWE champion for 434 days. No one's going to tell me differently. Brock Lesnar's had 10 title defenses. Mm-hmm. Is that Lesnar's fault? No. That's Creative's fault, and that's Vince's fault. That's his contract.
It's also the Universal Championship. It's not the WWE title.
Correct.
I don't care. Not only that, but Brock Lesnar's defending it against half the amount of people that CM Punk
Half,
was doing it against.
like a percent, a
You know,
fraction.
I just
And again,
call it.
Washington Capitals, they got the WWE Championship. Golden State Warriors, Philadelphia Eagles, WWE Championship.
Nobody got the
Not the Universal title, and that tells you where they value it. And I'll be curious to see how this all plays out after Brock loses it and moves on.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, Brock, he's going to drop it at SummerSlam. And I think that's the worst kept secret.
And then Brock Lesnar.
I think it's against Seth Rollins. Because I think from the Raw side, if it's not going to be Strowman, I think it needs to be Rollins. And I think that you can keep Strowman going after with something with Rollins, but I just think Rollins, to me, makes a lot of sense. I could see that happening. Rollins hot right now. You know, Rollins.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As a singles competitor, I think Rollins has been this hot.
been.
But he goes in ebbs and flows, and I think that's creative as far as like how they push him around and move him around. But like right now, he just feels like he's hot. Now right now, he just feels like
He's always hot to me.
But he feels
he is dynamite in the ring.
But he feels like he's getting more of a push. He feels like the chains aren't on him. So you know, for me, I could see.
So they're really gearing him up.
I believe so. I believe they're doing their best. You know. To set him up to take Brock's title.
It's going to be him, Finn, or Joe.
See, but Joe's on SmackDown.
That's right. Yeah.
Now they could bring him back. I mean, again, they could do whatever they want.
Swap. I forgot about that.
But listen, and
that would have been good.
I do think you're going to see Joe get up into that title picture on SmackDown after all this with Nakamura.
Good.
And honestly, that would be the one reason to keep it on Styles. And figure Shinsuke out later. Yep. But to do the Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles be looking into SummerSlam.
Completely two different types of wrestlers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those. You want to talk about a dream match? Mm-hmm. People saw that match at TNA a lot. There were two of their bigger guys, two of their world champions.
Yeah.
And you bring it to a WWE ring. So a couple interesting bits of news with WWE that I think are very interesting.
This is awesome.
So WWE, now this is I've read this. I've not substantiated it with but I'm going with it as it's true. Is that they've applied for new trademarks involving the nWo logo, and not just for T-shirts and stuff, because you know that I'll buy it, but for in-ring use.
I know. What could that possibly mean?
I'm not against it. Are you?
Oh, absolutely not.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done right.
It's got to be done right. Exactly. This can't be the nWo that they brought back from WCW and it kind of fizzled out. This has to be.
Well, let me ask you this question. So. Well, Justin's got a comment coming in. Why won't they make Rollins the guy if people make him the guy? His pops are always loud in every building. I think he's the guy that beats Brock. I do, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that you keep. I think the longer they keep Braun away from the title, the more it's like you want him to have it. So you kind of build the suspense up to it.
But I agree with you. I don't want to get too far off topic here for a moment because I want to make a good point about nWo. As much of an egomaniac as Vince is, do you really think if they're going to bring back the nWo and make this this new big thing in WWE, knowing that it was an Eric Bischoff WCW creation, do you really think that they're going to make that the star of their show?
I don't. So I hear what you're saying, but I think they've already done that. They went down that road before, and I think that I don't necessarily know that this era knows that. So you're talking about us they could reinvent the nWo and do their own thing with it, and there's a couple different. I think you could do a lot of cool things with it, but again,
so do I. It has to be done perfect.
When they had it before, when they did the WWFE version of it, I think they dropped the ball heavily.
Oh my god!
And I think a lot of that was injuries to certain guys. Yeah. I'm curious to know though. You always hear this talk about they're going to bring back Hulk Hogan. And I don't know if the two aren't
together.
Yeah, because I think that I'm not saying Hogan's ever going to wrestle again, and I don't think that we need to see that. But they brought in with Kurt Angle, you can use older guys as mouthpieces.
People are reading your mind.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I could see that.
But where does it start? Where's the spark?
Well, here's the thing. So Steve's mentioning evolution, right? Well, you could kind of do a mixture of the nWo evolution take. Remember, if you think back, that was, it was Flair, it was Triple H, it was Batista and Randy Orton, right? So if Hogan's the Flair guy with the evolution with the nWo, then now you take another main event guy and a couple of guys that you think have some potential over
But
time.
Flair wrestled.
He did, but that doesn't mean he has to.
Okay.
I think that it can be done. Hogan as a mouthpiece can work.
Oh, yeah.
Because really, Hogan in the ring was god-awful his entire career.
But who could you honestly see being in NWO that makes sense?
So
If they did something like this.
Here's how it makes sense for me. And I understand that I'm basically giving you, like, the storyline all over again. Mm-hmm. And I understand that. But it could totally be done. This will, by the way, disclaimer, this will never happen. It will never happen.
It's probably going to make sense. So, that's why.
Basically what you do is you kind of take that and you bring it to modern day. And it takes a lot of work. But all of a sudden, you're on Monday Night Raw, and Kenny Omega shows up. And talks about how...
Black and white?
Take it for what it's worth.
Okay.
This place sucks. This is terrible. From where I come from, it's much better, and I'm taking over, and I have friends. And the next week, Cody Rhodes shows up.
That'd be awesome.
And then, who's the third man? The third man would be somebody who has been the face of the business for many years that finally turns heel. Da, 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 da. John Cena.
Never going to happen.
I understand that, but how cool would that be?
He would be the guy fighting against
the third man. And you could bring Hogan in as the Godfather role. That would be fine. Hogan could be what DiBiase was.
Yeah.
You know? But a little more involved.
Right.
I would love to see it. Not going to happen.
Cena he reminds me of somebody that would be the guy fighting against that. He'd be Sting.
Sure.
He would be Sting.
I know, yeah. I mean, again, I'm curious to see where they go with it. I would love to see it, but my expectations are they're going to screw it up.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
that's fine. I mean, I always think they're going to screw it up. So
it'd be
that's
something different, something fresh, something we want to see for once.
The other thing is, could they take like the Undisputed Era when they bring them up and make them the NWO? Like just because they're, I think that we fall into this trap where just because here's what they are NXT, that's what they got to be on the main roster. Like we just fall into it.
Yeah,
not necessarily. You know, but the closest thing is the Undisputed Era. So
Mike says he's not waiting for us, but
that's fine. Whatever.
We'll still win.
So, okay, guys, if you're in the South Jersey area, one of our Sports Box hosts, Mike Velarde, is hosting the trivia show at the Applebee's in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
We will be there. I'm not signing any autographs.
There's going to be a lot of Sports Box members there, so check it out if you're in the area.
No autographs from me tonight. I'll do a picture, though.
The last thing that's on my mind. Take a picture of you? Whatever. That's Ben Bass, right? Is that the brown mouse that you look like?
No.
So...
He says now away from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The last thing I have for tonight, and again, we'll talk about Money in the Bank, I think, in a couple weeks. We'll do a redux, but Shawn Michaels, in the news, said in an interview that he could see himself doing, to quote Christian, one more match. Anthony, I'm going to give you the floor on this one. And basically, who do you think is kind of like go any which way you want with this. Who do you think would be the best opponent for the final Shawn Michaels match?
It has to be somebody that would it would have to be an honor for them. You know what I mean? Because this is probably the greatest, one of the greatest, probably in my opinion, the greatest wrestler in WWE history. When you talk about everything,
in many aspects, I think that's a very easy case to make.
It would have now. A lot of people are saying AJ Styles, but
I'm in that camp.
A lot of people will say that AJ Styles reminds them of Shawn Michaels. In my opinion, it has to be Seth Rollins. He's the guy, in my opinion, that's going to carry WWE for years to come. It has to be Seth. I think that would be one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. If Shawn can prove that he's still okay in the ring.
Right. I mean, both Rollins and Styles are both very good.
I don't like Styles because he's not WWE. He's not organic. Rollins is.
Well, I mean, Rollins did go through the independent circuit. But I understand. I understand what you're saying.
Everybody goes through something.
Styles made his hay elsewhere. Yeah. Rollins is a creation of the company. No, I totally get that.
Everybody starts somewhere. They don't all start in WWE.
I don't disagree with you. And Jeremiah is reading my mind right now, because do you ever see the meme of the two like Spider-Man guys pointing at each other? Because Adam Cole looks just like Shawn Michaels, and it's crazy. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
That would be like a gimmick, kind of like gimmicky.
I don't know. I think
Mike Consavi.
If Michaels has one more match, Mike Consavi. If Michaels has one more match, it's against Triple H. Book it himself. You know Triple H is winning. That's the thing.
It's so true, Mike.
I'm very bullish on Undisputed Era and Adam Cole specifically.
Yeah, so am I.
I think that go ahead.
Hold on. Okay, keep talking.
Are you gonna put your shirt on? Yeah.
I'm not putting it on.
He just ordered the shirt. He just came in today. Of all the entities in WWE that I'm pretty excited about, like I think Adam Cole has a very, very bright future. I really think if you fast forward this 5, 6, 7 years, he's the face of the company ahead of Seth Rollins. He's got everything.
Can you imagine them two?
Absolutely. He's got everything you'd want. Everything that you'd want. For me, I understand your Rollins point though. I just think it's Styles. I just think it is. I think that it would be a way for WWE to put Styles in like the real like rarefied air type thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You know, because he's not there yet. You know.
No, you're right.
But I think him and Shawn, would
be his WWE moment.
Yeah.
But I think I completely agree with what you're saying. It just makes more sense for it to be Rollins if you're going to also put Rollins in that category at some point. I think Styles is cemented in everything he's done in wrestling, and most of it's unfortunately going to be what he did outside of WWE.
Sure. Well,
that's
Sting.
Why I think that.
Sting.
Right, exactly the same thing.
You know,
he's going to be Sting, basically, with more WWE titles.
Right. Well, guys, thank you very much. Thank you for watching Ringside Seat on the Sports Box. Listen, guys, make sure you like the Sports Box. For those of you who are just finding us for the first time tonight, the Sports Box is a Facebook Live and YouTube-based network. I'm on a lot. Anthony's on a lot. We do golf. We do hockey. We do football. We do so much. Different shows throughout the week. Actually, tomorrow night's a big night in the Sports Box. 8 o'clock, we have the Diamond Cutters and Baseline Jumper. It's a kind of, right now, a combination baseball-basketball show until the basketball's done. That's with Mike Velarde, Paul McCree, and Brian Hess. Myself and Mike Galata, who's flying in from Canada. 9 o'clock with Highly Opinionated, the flagship show. We got a lot going on, so make sure you follow the Sports Box, like the Sports Box, like all our pages. We're everywhere. At Sports Box Show on Facebook, at Sports Box Show on Twitter.
Canadian.
Did I say Canadian?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I didn't say Canadian. I blame Canada. But anyway, on behalf of Anthony Morella, I am Brian Attard. Thank you very much, wrestling fans, for watching Ringside Seat. We'll have some sort of probably post-show on Money in the Bank at some point, so keep an eye out for that. And thank you very much for watching tonight. There you go.
Time for post-drinks at...
One, two, three.
Don't forget to subscribe.